Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Facebook Live. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to have you here. And whether you're watching live or watching the replay, I'm always grateful for your being here. So, again, thank you for doing that. I want to talk today about your relationship with yourself because a lot of times when we are thinking about relationships, we start thinking about our relationships with others, right? We think about our relationships with our parents, our spouse, our kids, right? Everybody except us. But we have a relationship with ourselves. We all do. And if it's not a healthy relationship, right? If it's not based on a solid foundation of love, are going to find yourself being unhappy because you're not having the kind of relationship that can make you live your full potential and live as yourself. A lot of times we could have an off day, we could think some bad things about ourselves, but when you're doing that on a regular everyday basis, where you're always thinking unkind things about yourself, right? You're always saying negative thoughts. You you create this neural pathway in your brain that becomes reinforced every time you say those things or think those things, right? Or every time you try to do something that opposes those things. Your primary directive becomes one of self-hate. And that's not a good relationship to have because then you don't do the things you need for yourself. You don't care for yourself. You don't take care of yourself. You don't do any of the things that matter for you. You don't have any confidence in yourself. Your self esteem is low. How to be the best you that you can be, right? Because you're stuck holding yourself back with all this negative thinking because you don't have a good relationship with you. So that's one of the most important ones, right? Because when you have a negative relationship with yourself, it hurts everything about who you are, right? And like even how your body is functioning. Like I'm clearly overweight, right? And at one point I wasn't, but I still thought of myself as overweight. When I when someone when anyone found me attractive or appealing and wanted to be around me or put attention on me, I added weight to protect myself and make me invisible because I didn't want to be seen, right? And so you have to find ways to develop that relationship with yourself so that you can be more loving to yourself. Because as long as you're not loving yourself, you don't take care of yourself. So for a long time, I didn't take care of my body because I didn't love myself enough to do that. And that doesn't mean you have to do, grueling exercises and this and that, but starting to move, starting to realize that this body is actually your temple. It's where you live. And so take care of it, right? Treat it well because that's part of having a relationship with yourself. When you think of relationships with other people, the relationships you have with folks that that are positive and good and that you want to nurture, you have some good feelings toward those people. You care about them, you respect them. You want to do things that please them and make them happy and help them. And usually it's a mutual thing. And when you don't care about them, you don't. So if you look at it that way, then having a good relationship with yourself is also about helping you treat yourself with love and respect and looking at what makes you feel good and happy and treating yourself well. Because if you don't do those things, you end up with low self esteem. You end up with a lack of confidence. You end up unable to live at your fullest potential and grow the kind of life and business that you want for yourself. Everything you do, how you treat other people and how you deal with other people really comes out of how you feel about yourself and the relationship that you have with yourself. So it's key to develop it so that it can help you develop other relationships that are good relationships. Because without them, you're not really going to ever be able to build really solid relationships with other people that matter. Yes, Lorraine, you're absolutely right. Um, we are often told that we're being selfish when we think of ourselves first. If you don't see everything, people go, love yourself as your neighbor, love yourself as your neighbor, and they say that all the time. But they don't ever think, wait, I got to love myself first. I have to love me so I can love my neighbor like I love myself. I can't love my neighbor without loving me, right? The classic thing people talk about that you think about is when you're on the airlines and they put on the little sign, when the oxygen mask drops, put it on yourself first. And then you can put it on your kids and your old senior people that you're taking care of and you disabled and whoever else need help. Put it on you first. Because if you don't put it on you first, you're gonna pass out before you can get it on anybody else. Right? You gotta love you. You gotta learn to love you. You have to develop a positive relationship with yourself. And that's not selfishness. That's going to lead to you being able to give your best. Because you can't give your best when you run down and tired and beat up and feel like crap about who you are. You can't give your best. You can't even come from a place of worthy giving. All of what you have to give is coming from a place of lack. It's a different feeling, right? There's some resentment behind it. There's nothing there that is helpful or wonderful when it's not coming out of love, because love is the key to everything, right? Love is the answer. And so when you're thinking of a question and you're trying to figure it out, know that if love is not in it, if love is not part of it, it's probably not the right answer. And so when you're not giving from a place of love and of fullness and of confidence and of well-being about yourself, if you don't have that relationship about yourself, every other relationship will suffer because of it. And you won't even really recognize when you find people that don't love themselves and you're trying to love them, they don't even understand that you love them. They can't see the love because they don't love themselves enough to feel lovable, to feel worthy of it. So they are going to be thinking all kinds of things, but it's never going to be that you truly love them until they learn to love themselves. That's just straight up truth. You got to love yourself in order to see love, in order to give love, in order to be love. And when you love yourself, you can build everything else that you want to have, that you want to do. You can reach your fullest potential because you are feeling full. Nothing can be built from emptiness. You got to have something there, right? So that's what I want to say today. Build a relationship with yourself first, because that is the most important relationship you will ever have. And when you have that relationship in place and you're going out and you're loving other people and you're giving to other people, you can give from the fullness of who you are because you'll be able to get at your full potential. So I hope that helps. And that's my talk today, right? Build your relationship with yourself and build it on a solid foundation of love. And if you haven't grabbed it, um, I can tell you my book, 10 Principles of Visibility, will help you get there. And I welcome you to join me in the mastermind. We meet weekly and we talk about this kind of stuff because it matters. All right. Talk to you all later. Love you, love you, love you. Bye-bye.